Hey, Diva Queens.
Hello, and welcome back to It's Not That Serious, the podcast with Drea.
And Lina.
I wanted to do that right off the top because last time we didn't.
We forgot.
Yeah, we didn't do it at all.
We are here. We're on video. We're actually catching up. We haven't seen each other in a while.
Yes, which is good because it gives us lots of things to talk about.
Exactly.
How have you been?
I've been good. I went to Jersey to see my boyfriend's parents. That was cool. And then I recently started watching In Vogue the 90s. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah, I heard it was good.
Have you seen it?
No, I have such like a... I have to really be in a specific mood to watch documentary kind of things.
Yeah.
But I've heard good things. I watched the Tegan and Sarah stalker documentary with my dad.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, we watched that like around Christmas when my parents were here. But it kind of made me realize that sometimes these documentaries, they kind of like stretch out the story so much to fit like an hour and a half where it's just like kind of like non-story. And then by the time you get to the end, you're barely
Giving me anything.
Yeah, you're barely giving me anything. You barely are hanging on by a thread with like my attention span.
Yeah, I realized that a while ago with the Netflix documentaries that they give you like 5-6 part series, and it's like you didn't even have that much to say.
Yeah.
And then by the end it's like, well, the mystery was never solved. And it's like, mother,
I know.
I just watched 6 episodes and y'all want to tell me that this is still a cold case?
I know. That's why I don't like the Unsolved Mystery show, because you remember a couple years ago they did the reboot of it, the one from the 90s, and then Netflix brought it back, and I watched like 1 or 2 episodes and I was like, I need resolve.
Yes.
I need resolve because like I'm not
I need to know that there's hope. I need to know that you guys are good at your job. First of all,
I think that when you die, like when you get to the afterlife, you get to like find out all those things. Like when you die, you're gonna know like who killed JonBenet Ramsey. But I don't want to wait till then, so I'm just like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah,
I'll deal with it when we get there.
I feel you.
So,
with the In Vogue the 90s, I think they really captured like the era of the supermodels pretty well. And Anna's like really in it. Anna Wintour's like in the document. Like she's in the first episode the whole time, second episode the whole time.
how is she painted like in a positive light or like any kind of light in that?
She would not let them paint her in a negative light. No, honestly, it's like kind of just telling the story of like when she got to Vogue and how like she changed things up in the magazine. And basically like the transition from 80s glamour to like 90s understated like imagery.
Yeah.
And also kind of like interviewing her team who like she brought on when she came to American Vogue.
Was Grace Coddington in it?
Yeah, I think so,
because
yeah.
didn't they have a falling out?
Yeah, but I don't know when it was. Basically like when Kate Moss came up, you know, like when like Kate Moss was like a super young 14-year-old that like made it to Calvin Klein. Like Calvin Klein is the first one to put her in a campaign, and then she blew up, and then all the models had to follow suit, like to be like more natural and more like kind of like androgynous a little bit, and you know. So it's interesting so far. I haven't finished it, but I like the essence that it like, you know, it just gives nostalgia, you know, which I'm a fan of.
You know what I watched actually, and talking about documentaries made me remember because it was kind of like not very memorable. And we talked about this like in one of our first episodes of the podcast, was the Natalia Grace, the Curious Case of Natalia Grace.
Yes.
Which is about the little person that was adopted and then this whole fiasco. So they're on season 3.
Oh, wow.
They milk the story again so long, like 6 or 8 episodes. And it's just about like how basically like this poor woman, because she is an adult now, needs like therapy and like needs to learn how to develop like healthy relationships with people. But, you know, obviously they dramatize it for the show that it's like much worse than it really is when it's like someone that's dealt with like abandonment their whole life and has to learn how to like trust people and let people in. So I almost feel like the end again was like kind of like a non.
You finished it.
I finished it in one sitting because I'm like,
It was like non-climax. Like there's basically like they're delaying the climax, and then like when the climax is supposed to happen, like nothing happens.
yeah. And I noticed the producers were doing like some tricky editing to like give context to certain things in the show. But if you pay attention, it actually isn't the real timeline of things, because you can tell where they're at in the timeline with her haircut.
Right.
And the fact that she gets fake nails. So like if you're watching,
actually paying attention, yeah.
You're like, wait, she had this haircut 2 episodes ago, but now you're using it in the context to like manipulate the storyline. And like, I just pray to God, this is the last installment of this, because we need to like hang it up. Like the story was like beaten to death.
Yeah.
Done. Unless you can get the first adoptive mom on there, Christine, the one that like abused her. Unless we can get that storyline, no more Natalia Grace. Like it's done.
I don't know anything about it. I gotta look into it.
Though I think the only season worthwhile is probably like the first, and then the second one is when like it's from her perspective, because the first one's from the adopted family's perspective, and that man, he's cuckoo. He's crazy. That man.
People are cuckoo.
Yeah, he's a dramatic straight man. So just nothing good from that.
Yeah.
So
might as well be gay.
At least be gay. Damn.
A dramatic straight man.
Have you seen that thing that's like sassy man epidemic?
No.
It's like a sassy straight man epidemic, and it's like men being like sassy.
Like men want to be the princess type
Like
of thing?
just men with an attitude, straight
Yeah.
men with an attitude. I'm like, not this sassy straight man epidemic. Oh.
What else has been up? What's been up with you?
I got the flu. I got influenza A. I feel like then every time I tell people, oh, I got sick, I have to tell people exactly what it was, because it wasn't just normal sickness. I was like,
She was out.
I was out.
That's why this episode is a bit delayed.
I was so unwell. I have never been sick in that way.
It was tougher than COVID.
Yes, it was tougher. It was painful. It was like, this is the flu that they had in the 20s that wiped out like half the population on Earth.
It was literally influenza.
I literally understand why people passed away from the flu. It was so horrific.
What's wild to me is like I have so many friends that have kids, and then their kids come back with like this flu, and then everyone's sick, and now you got to take care of a toddler like who's just as sick, even sicker than you, and you feel like too.
I think about that all the time.
I'm like, God, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I have it in me.
I've thought about that too. Or like if you're hungover and you have to take care of your child the next day.
Yes. What? And especially hangovers now?
Now.
Are you kidding me?
I know.
I could drink the most amount of water, eat a full plate of food, like be the most responsible drinking person, and still wake up with a hangover.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but yeah, to have to function as an adult, like with the responsibility of a child, is wild.
I know. Like people don't get enough credit for like how exhausting it is to have a child. To like raise a human it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. So
the flu.
This is a public service announcement. Get your flu shot, because I do not recommend that on anyone. It was horrific. Please get your flu shot. And then,
the thing about the flu shot is that you get sick
from it. I know. You
which
can't
is
win.
so whack.
But then if you do get the flu, it's not as bad.
I get it, but like now I'm like purposely getting sick.
I know. So I don't know. There's no way to win, but just be clean out there. Don't put your fingers in your mouth or whatever wash your hands and all this stuff. The flu is horrific. Because that's what I've been dealing with.
You
like
heard
literally
it here
for 2
first.
weeks. And then beyond that, if you have to take the Tamiflu, which is like the flu medicine, I literally projectile like vomited. I could not even make it to the toilet because that's how sick it makes you.
Really?
Yes. I never had that happen to me in like all my adult years. I literally was like laying in bed and I felt it and I got up, opened the door, and I threw up on the floor. Like I couldn't even make it to the bathroom. I threw up all over my bathroom because of the Tamiflu.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I'm scared.
A lot of people won't even take the Tamiflu because of how sick it makes you feel. But it like, I guess it helps you heal faster, but like.
Oh, nausea. I'm a nauseous ass.
Me too. Like if I turn my head fast, I'm like, ooh.
Straight
I
up.
just did it right
if
now.
If I look down in the car, it's a wrap. If I don't get window seat on a flight, it's a wrap. I gotta be able to like look out the window, see if like, why do I feel a little strange? Okay, because I can see the tilt. I can see the horizon. Got it. If I'm in the middle seat with no control of the window, oh, it's a wrap.
You know what I've been noticing? Just changing up gears really quick. My entire TikTok feed ever since like the ban
is ads.
Well, yes, it's ads, but I only get 2 subjects now, and it's literally political things or Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
Because that's what you're clicking on.
I'm tired of it.
There's this theory that they actually did sell TikTok and that we're now being censored.
I saw that too because did you know that other countries are like protesting for us?
Really?
Yes, and you don't see it on TikTok.
That's insane.
I know. There's countries like standing up for our civil rights right now and having protests. You know what did
the poor USA.
I mean, I feel bad for us. You know what happened to me on Instagram was the force follow.
Oh, I saw that. I went to check mine and I wasn't. No,
it happened to like a couple of my friends.
I gotta check again.
What happened was I had blocked them. I'm not gonna name them. I'm not gonna talk about them by name, but I had blocked them earlier that day, and then for whatever reason,
political figures that we do not speak of.
We do not speak of or support at all. And then I went to go check later that day, and it had unblocked them and followed them.
Oh.
And I'm like, that's so
nasty work.
And creepy.
Yeah, that's creeple deepo.
Yeah.
I don't with that.
Then I was like, oh my God. I was like ringing the alarm. I was like posting it on my Instagram story. I'm like, people need to care about this more because that's like crazy.
Oh, and there was some people who had like gotten the forced follow, had unfollowed them, and then they realized that they made them refollow them.
Yes.
I mean, that's like real control.
Yeah. So, anyways, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, the 2 other people I don't really want to like hear about anymore. I'm like, how does this end? This needs to end.
Yes.
I just got another TMZ alert.
I'm tired, boss.
Like, I don't foresee how this ends. They both need to like, she's done. She's cooked. Her reputation's really like cooked. And now the husband, Ryan Reynolds, he's like, it's coming out with all his from the past. I just had a TikTok go like, mildly viral is like anything under 500K.
I saw that.
And it was talking about that movie Waiting with him. And I'm like, first of all, I don't know why. I had this urge where I'm like, I remember this movie being so funny. Let me rewatch it. It's on Peacock. I watched it the other day and I was like, I did not nearly a chuckle. Nothing. Ryan Reynolds, so ugly. First of all, with his eyebrows waxed in that movie.
Oh no, they cleaned up his eyebrows?
It was horrible with an arch.
Ooh.
And he had that youthful, like, he still had his fat pads in his face, which makes him very easy to draw looking.
Yes.
Ugly. And then, so basically in my TikTok, I'm talking about how the whole premise of this movie is him being basically a sexual predator, like scamming on underage girls and how he loves like high school girls and like 16-year-olds and all this shit. And I'm like, yo, that's gross. Like that movie's not funny. It's gross. And then, I had like split debate in the comments where like a bunch of people were like, yeah, that movie's not funny and it's gross and weird. And like, why did we think that was funny in 2006? And then the other half of the people were like, that movie's hilarious. You stupid woman don't understand like funny things. And like, that's an accurate depiction of what it's like to work in a restaurant. Like, regardless of that being an accurate depiction of what it's like to work in a restaurant does not make it right.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it right. And like, I wanted to like tag one of the comments of people like defending it and being like, Officer, this one. This one. Like, check on that man's search history.
I saw people were like, did she say sitting through waiting? Like, because you mentioned you had to sit through it.
Yeah.
I was reading the comment section on there. People
like,
were going in. People are they're so
obtuse.
I don't know, like predatory. They want to like come at you like
so aggressive in the
so
comments.
Aggressive.
I know. It's never just like a mild response.
Yeah, it's never like, damn, you know, that's a good perspective, but I really enjoyed that movie. Like, it's always like,
you stupid,
you stupid dumb.
You should kill yourself because you don't understand humor at all.
Yeah. And it's like, whoa, bro.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
I know, and you can.
And
always,
I wonder if it's like, is that like a generational thing?
I know. I think it's like an internet thing because I think it crosses generations because it's not just like young people that do it. It's older people that do it as well. It's like Gen X, Millennial, and Gen Z. They do it because I think that you don't have to like necessarily censor yourself because you're kind of like hiding behind your screen. You don't have to have such a violent reaction to every single thing you come across. You could just swipe past it.
Yes, I agree.
It's like internet brain, quite frankly.
Yes.
So, anyways.
Shall we get into it?
We can get into it.
Let's do it. What do we got?
Rick Owens released a very limited collaboration with Rimowa. So only 500 pieces were launched in, I guess you wouldn't even really call this a collection. It was just one limited edition piece, the cabin sized suitcase.
It's very interesting collaboration. From what I've read, I like it. Rick Owens has been seen or heard saying that he, no matter where he's going or how long he's staying, he only travels with like a carry-on. Like he doesn't do check-in bags or anything. So that's kind of like really on brand for him. I liked the bronze that they used.
Yes.
And it's like a very specific, like hand-painted kind of
anodized aluminum, which will evolve over time with patinated finish deepening continuously.
They wanted it to recall the bronze finish of sculptures by the likes of Alberto Giacometti, Constantine Brancusi, and Richard Serra. Don't know any of them.
And it's Rimowa's first fully leather interior with full grain calf leather sourced directly from Rick Owens. You have
first ever in 125 years. 25-year history of the company, which is kind of fire. I mean, for me, I have a Rimowa. I regret buying it because I regret buying the hard case. The hard case has like no give, you know, like I'm trying to stuff my
Yeah.
I needed to stretch a little bit, you know, and it does not give. But the interior kind of like strap kind of like came apart a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it's like, this is too expensive for the seam to like be ripping, you know? And so with leather, I would appreciate the quality. Yes. But guess what? Another thing I noticed, that carry-on is heavy as hell on its own.
Yeah, like it's even a heavy ass up there.
It's a heavy ass carry-on without clothes in it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Which is like my problem with like some designer bags too, because like I'm putting a lot of in my bag, you know, and for me to have to lug that on my shoulder.
Yes. Like, how are you going to be heavy before you even put things inside of it?
Exactly.
That's like, remember that Bottega bag that had that huge chain? That huge chain length?
Which I imagine the leather just makes it heavier.
Heavier, 100%.
They're retailing for 2,900 euros, which is probably like $3,200, something like that.
I have it at $35.25 US.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then it also features a distinctive hair-on cowskin luggage tag. I also read that because it was like a manual pigment application for like the outside of the suitcase, no two are identical.
Right. Every one is like one of one. Each one. Yeah.
And they are numbered 1 through 500.
That's beautiful. I wouldn't spend the money on it, but whatever.
I love that I can already imagine the demographic of like men that are gonna buy that because it's those like super Rick heads that buy all
like
that
cult
stuff.
following.
Yeah, that they buy the on like Grailed and stuff.
Yeah.
I can already imagine them.
I was talking to a friend and she was like, why is it that they make these collaborations? I guess she was saying how Rimowa is like passé, like people aren't buying Rimowa anymore. And she's like, I just got the ability to afford this and now it's whack.
I know.
And I was just thinking Rick Owens, how like some of the girls are saying like, oh, tabbies are over with because there were tabbies on
like a TikTok trend.
No.
Oh, like Shein.
Yeah,
like fake tabbies.
Shein and Fashion Nova.
Those always come up on my TikTok ads.
Fake tabbies on Shein and Fashion Nova. And it's like, damn. I just got tabbies like 3 years ago.
I know.
I'm like, now I gotta retire them.
I saw a pair of fake tabbies in the wild the other day, and I'm like, ugh, it just gave me the ick so bad. Because that's like such like a signature like design of the brand, and it's like so obvious when it's like fake.
Yeah.
Like, how are you gonna? It's not like, I don't know, like a ballet flat, like the Elia one, for example, the mesh one that you can get the dupe, and it's not like so obvious that it's fake
or like representative of the brand. Like
exactly.
They've made so many other things,
But like when you're getting something that's literally a signature of the brand and then it's not from the brand, and then they advertise them on TikTok, like they call them tabbies, and I'm like, that is not a tabby.
No, you can't call it a tabby. You got to call it like a split toe shoe.
Split toe shoe.
Which brings me to something else. I was watching this TikTok that this girl made, and she was like, are shoes over with? Because of, I guess, the Balenciaga's like toe shoe.
Hell no.
That's so terrible. It's like a sole with like one toe covered.
Toe hook.
With like a toe loop.
Yeah, that you hook your foot into.
Yeah. And so like it almost looks like you're barefoot except for that like big toe. And she went through this whole thing where like, oh, the decline of like dad shoes, like big chunky shoes, to like more slim Sambas or Speed Cats, because I guess the girls are buying Speed Cats now.
I know. I keep seeing girls in Speed Cats. I'm like, do I need a pair?
I know. Like I watch those, what people are wearing in Paris, what people are wearing in Milan, and like I had seen like someone do a what people are wearing in Paris, and it was like Speed Cats everywhere, but like in the back, a keen eye would notice like, yeah, they're wearing Speed Cats because it's a Puma event. You know what I mean? So like you can't sway me in that way. I'm like, excuse me, not everyone is wearing them. But I guess now the girlies are wearing them. I've been seeing the girls
wearing Speed Cats, and I'm like, they look cute.
They look cute. I almost want to buy some, but I have been feeling like they are a little slim. Oh, an update on the Mostro Pumas that I bought. I don't know if I like them.
Really?
I still have them sitting there deciding if I'm going to return them or not.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll send you a photo and we can decide. But anyway, so she went through that whole thing where like Sambas, Speed Cats, and then like now like even like ballerina flats and the sheer ballerina flats, and it's like this been getting more and more and more limited to like just your foot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's this thing grounding, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, what? Everybody's just going to be out here like grounding, stepping on grass, like touching grass with their toes? Like, I don't know.
There's this couple on TikTok that their whole platform is that they cut all the soles of their shoes out. So they like walk around barefoot everywhere.
But they don't look like they're walking around.
But they don't look like they're walking around barefoot.
Wow, that's like being a hippie, but not wanting other people to know that you're a hippie.
With like Golden Goose,
which kind of goes against like being a hippie.
I know. But we have to thank God, honestly, that whole scandal with Balenciaga happened in a way, because if that had never happened, there would be a lot of people walking around with those naked foot shoes.
I agree.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Because people just literally were like eating that shit up. Like Balenciaga would put out something and people were just wearing it.
It was trolling us.
Yeah.
We were getting trolled.
Yeah. The last shoe they put out, which was like the last iteration of the Crazy Dad shoe, where it's like this huge boat, almost looks like a banana. I saw someone wearing them the other day, and I'm like, you guys will literally just buy anything.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell me you think that those are like
It's like that big tire.
Yes,
the tire shoe.
it looks like the tire. I'm
Yeah.
like, you can't, if you needed to get somewhere, God forbid some went down, you can't run in those.
Yeah, you can't tell me that this is like something you actually want to be wearing.
Yeah.
be wearing.
If it was any other brand, you wouldn't be wearing them. What are your thoughts on the Rick Owens, like the classic, like the most iconic sneaker? Like, are those?
I like them. I buy them for my clients.
Yeah.
I think they're a good clean sneaker. I think like one of my clients, I put him in a lot of Chucks, and then like when he's not in Chucks, he wears the Ricks also.
Yeah.
And they go up to big sizes. They have a 48. So, yeah, I mean with shoes, when it comes to like bigger footed clients like that, I can't be too choosy.
Yeah.
Although he is very particular about his shoes, so I'm like, I'm happy that he likes the Ricks because I like the Ricks.
Yeah, I was considering.
I don't
a
have
pair.
any. Yes, I don't have any of my own.
Me neither.
And I want to get some only because I find that there's this like gap of like when I want to wear sneakers, but I still want to look nice, you know? Which is like, I don't want to wear a Samba. I don't want to wear
a replica.
yeah, I don't know. I need like something where I can still look like I'm dressed up, but I'm comfortable.
Yeah, I've been like toying with it, and then I've been meaning to ask you because I'm like, are those passé?
Yeah.
But I feel like
I like them. I mean, we might be a little tardy to the party, but
that's the thing though. Is it like a tardy to the party thing, or is it something like to me, I had seen that they were trying to say like the replica sneakers were donezo, but to me that's like a classic and that would never go out of style. So you kind of just have to push through the trend of it all and just like wait for the other side of it.
Just keep them. Yeah, so like the ones that everyone has that don't have anything on the side for Rick Owens, those are great. The ones that I want are the ones that they have like a little V design on the side.
Yeah, I think I know which
Those are the ones that I want.
Like that?
Yeah, but the low.
They're on
Yeah.
sale. Might Teresa.
Yeah. It's just, I also don't like the
It's
the
a very
swoop
up.
of the front. So I'm like, ugh, I don't know. I gotta try them on. We'll see. We'll see if we both step out in some Rick Owens. What are they called? I forgot what they're
I don't
called.
even know. But next episode is gonna be us here with these like big clunky sneakers.
In other news, do you know the jewelry designer Lynn Ban?
So I didn't know her by name, but
You've seen her pieces.
I've seen her pieces, and I didn't realize how prolific her career was.
Yeah. So Lynn Ban did avant-garde jewelry designer pieces. They've been worn by like Beyonce, Rihanna, Madonna, Cardi B. Like, you know, everyone has had a moment with like those pieces.
For me, the most recognizable piece, and maybe a lot of people will know this too because it's more like mainstream media, Rihanna was wearing her pieces when she performed during the Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Yes. I saw some images that Mel Z posted.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lynn was like super well connected in the industry. I think she was born in Singapore and she moved to New York. Basically, like, the industry is like in shambles because recently in December, she had a skiing accident on Christmas Eve, right? And she was gonna chalk it up to nothing.
I just watched a video on this. She was wearing a helmet during the incident.
She was
and
wearing
then
a helmet.
She was checked on the mountain, and at first they dismissed it and they said it was fine. But then one of the on-mountain paramedics was like, actually, you know, you should probably go get an MRI.
A CT scan or MRI, yeah.
And so then she went into the hospital and they found that she had a hematoma in her brain.
Yes.
So
She had to go into an emergency
surgery.
Yeah, emergency craniotomy. Like, she posted a photo of the scar, and the scar was like so huge and so like invasive. I don't even know. Like, I'm like in shambles thinking about this because like I snowboard, and you just don't ever know the gravity of like the danger that is like skiing
and snowboarding is so dangerous.
Yes.
Like, I don't think people talk about it enough, or how many people get injured or pass away from skiing incidents.
Yeah.
I had someone a few years ago tell me, and I used to like think that it was funny, but because he was an older like diva queen, and he was like, if you didn't learn how to ski when you were younger, that is not something you pick up as an adult.
No, it's not, because you have to have the fearlessness when you're a kid to be able to learn. When you're an adult, you are very fearful, and fearfulness does not get you to like be confident on the mountain. So you can't, like, you just can't.
So I grew up skiing and snowboarding because I grew up in the Northeast, and I don't think I will ever again, because to me now I am too scared.
Yeah. So actually recently in December, I went, whatever. I'll get back to this story, but I want to finish with the Lynn Ban story. So she had a craniotomy, and
the surgery was seemingly successful in the moment.
Yes. And so she posted on Instagram, she was in recovery and all this, and she had she had a drainage tube.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was December 30th. She had posted.
Yes. And recently, I think like a
5
few days
days
ago, last week, she passed away from complications of, of the surgery.
After the accident and her brain surgery. So her son had posted on Instagram announcing his mother's passing. My mom passed away on Monday. I know she wanted to share her journey after her incident and brain surgery, so I thought she would appreciate one last post sharing the news to people who supported her. And he goes on to do a really heartfelt dedication. I can't imagine how painful that is, especially when you think that you're on the other side of it because you thought you caught it and you had the surgery. And then
she was 51, like so young, you know what I mean? And it's like, imagine like you're just having a beautiful vacation with your family and then
totally innocent.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't think anything of skiing because it's such a popular activity. So many people do it.
So in December, I went to see my nieces and stuff. They live in Kentucky. And so we went to snowshoe. We drove like 5 hours to go skiing and snowboarding. Me and my brother grew up snowboarding. You know, I've been able to snowboard since I was like 11. So we rented snowboards outside of the mountain to just like maybe save a little money because we were renting a lot. And we probably saved like $30 each person, which is like,
it adds up.
It adds up. So the guy was like, oh, yeah, here's your beginner board. And I was like, oh, well, technically I'm not a beginner. And he's like, oh, sorry, everyone that rents is usually a beginner. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, here, like, take this other board. He gave me the other board, and I'm like, I get on the mountain, and I'm realizing, like, this is too fast. Like, this is just too fast for me. Mm-hmm. Like, this board was longer. And so with my weight, it was just taking me down. Like, I was flying to the point where like I did like maybe 5 runs and I was like, I'm done. Because since we had rented outside of the mountain, if I wanted to change the board out, I learned my lesson. If I wanted to change the board out, I gotta go down the mountain to change the board out. I can't just go to the lodge to change the board out.
Yeah.
So I was just like
scared,
like fearful for my life. Mm-hmm. And I'm like watching my bro, and I don't know, I get so scared. My brother's like very accident prone, and my brother's a big dude. And he was flying even more. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, are we gonna get out? Like, are we gonna make it out of here? And the accident that this lady, Lynn Ban, had, like, it's just so sad. It's so striking, so shocking to me because it's like, it can happen to anyone. And snowmobiles.
Snowmobiles are so
dangerous.
Yeah.
They're like the most dangerous thing that I've witnessed. Like I know so many friends that have had a snowmobile like flip over on them and like all that.
Yeah. Even jet skis kind of freak me out because being a woman, if you have, this is so like, I'm sorry, it's so graphic, but if you have like water rush up inside of you, you literally can get internal bleeding.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
So you have to be careful as a woman jumping off high things, the way you like land in the water, like you have to cross your legs and stuff because if you get that rush of water, I saw a video where the girl went flying off of the back of a jet ski and the water like rushed up inside of her and she started like bleeding profusely down there like immediately.
Oh my God.
But and then like back to the skiing thing, the culture of like après ski. I was watching a video of, because in certain places, I guess like Aspen or whatever, there are like bars at the top of the mountain and people get like
plastered.
like blackout.
Yes, and go ski.
And then they ski down the mountain, and it was someone like, it was like a funny video, but when you really think about it, like in real life, it was people literally rolling down the mountain, having to like slide down on their butts, all this stuff because they were so drunk. And they have like a snow patrol to bring people down the mountain when they're too drunk.
Yeah.
But can you imagine how often there's like some crazy accident because they're just like up
Yeah.
skiing?
I mean, it's a good time, but it's like, you know, all with caution. Like, you can't just be out there frivolously trying to ski. My boyfriend tried skiing this time for the first time.
Really? He'd never had?
He'd never skied before.
I think it's funny when Miami people, because I have such like funny perspective on like when Miami people learn like outside things. So I know
He's
a
not
lot
from
of
Miami though, which is wild.
That's why I'm like surprised he never has, because like when you grow up there, it's just something you do. Like in my middle school and high school, there was like ski club, so you would go after school to go like snowboarding and skiing, which my sisters and I would do that. But I have friends now as adults that they're like, we're going to like wherever, Colorado, wherever the you go skiing, like for the first time because they think it's like shishi. And I'm like,
that shit is not for the faint of heart.
Not, like,
no, any homegirls, any homegirls that I've taken with me to go to like, to go try to learn or whatever, to go like do the whole thing. Like, you got to strap those boots on.
Getting off the ski lift.
You can't even. Getting off the ski lift is a mission. You can't even. You can't even move. Your pants are too tight. You're wearing 75 layers. Like, I'm talking about.
Your mocos are down.
Your mocos are down your mouth. Your hair is frozen. Like,
God forbid you have to pee.
Yeah.
Like, it is not cute. Like, skiing and snowboarding is not a cute
not.
thing.
That's why when I see like girls like post these like really cute photos, like these really cute like curated like snow bunny photos, I'm like, that is not what the I look like when I snowboard. Like, my hair is matted.
I know, because it's all like back here like this, and when you're done, your hair is like.
It depends on the conditions, obviously, but like if you don't even have flexibility to like be able to like tie your shoe with like 4 pants on, like you're cooked. You're done.
Wow. I just had so many flashbacks of like skiing when I'm young and when you're little and you're like, it's cold, but you're also sweating.
Yes, exactly. You're like, you're hot as but like all your extremities are frozen. Yeah. It's like, what?
Oh my God.
Such a brain Okay, so there's been some rumors, and I think I like these rumors. Mm-hmm. First of all, rest in peace, Y Project, because there was news that Y Project is closing its doors indefinitely. They struggled to find a buyer. Glenn Martens was the creative director for Y Project, and he is who is designing currently for Diesel, which has had like a super resurgence. Mm-hmm. He's got the it girls.
He does.
The it girls follow him. So, I don't know. I mean, I like him. I've always liked the brand Y Project. So when I heard that, I bought a little something.
I know. I was thinking too. I've always
on the Essence sale.
I've always had
page
my
165.
I always have my eye on some Y Project things, but it's like pricey even on the real.
It is pricey.
Then I'm like, it's gonna be even more expensive now.
Yeah, I bought like this little skirt. It's like asymmetrical. It's cute. Mm-hmm. You know me, I like skirts. Anyway, there are rumors that Glenn Martens will be the next creative director of Margiela after John Galliano's departure.
I think that could be interesting, but it's going to be a totally different perspective on the brand.
Yeah. I mean, it's been Galliano for so long.
Yeah. And I think especially after that last Couture show.
Yes.
That was
I mean, it's very sad to see Galliano leave. Like, as a designer, not as a person.
Yeah. But he did his thing, so
he did his thing, but that last collection, like, he blew it out the water.
Yeah, he did
with that one.
So I just wonder what this would look like, aesthetically.
Yeah, I mean, I think he works well in like the deconstruction realm and like the asymmetrical type of like
which I do
vibe
think
that he has. I think it's a good match. I just don't know
how it will look.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of the things he's been doing are like a little more like streetwear adjacent, for lack of like a better term because it's not like necessarily streetwear. What is that called? It like high street. Isn't that like an English term or whatever? Because diesel is very much that. And especially it's very on the nose, like kind of Y2K. And that's why it's taken off so much in the last couple of years, especially with like social media. I immediately think of that belt skirt. That went viral.
He really leaned into the D of diesel, like the D emblem, and that little mini micro bag that all the girlies were wearing.
Yeah. So I do think historically Margiela leans into like that kind of like deconstructed play on silhouettes,
but it is more chic.
Yeah, it's like it's more chic, it's more elevated. So it's like, how will they be like reinterpreting that in a more elevated way? We know what it does bring to mind is that it was announced that the two creative directors who oversaw Proenza Schooler are now going to Loewe.
Yes.
Which is like a pretty good comparison of like having to elevate to another brand when you step into the role of creative director.
But the thing is, like, how do you follow?
Loewe.
How do you follow
Jonathan Anderson
for Loewe?
And apparently Jonathan Anderson's going to Dior, which I'm very interested to see.
Honestly, I've always loved, before I even knew Loewe, I always loved J.W. Anderson.
Yes.
Because he has very specific little accessories that were like cool, you know? Like I always felt like they were interesting and a different perspective, but he killed it at Loewe, and I mean, he's going to kill it at Dior.
Yeah, I will say like he was like a 10 out of 10 at Loewe for me, except for the reinterpretation of the puzzle bag. I hate the new version of the puzzle bag. It does not look as well crafted and expensive as it used to, because previously the puzzle bag was actually individual pieces of leather, and now it's not. It's like one piece and it just has the seams sewn basically.
Or it's one piece on the inside and then outside they sew the pieces on.
The patches,
I think so.
Basically, which is like not elevated.
Yeah.
Not as elevated as it used to be. I have an original puzzle bag, which is like...
Do you?
I do,
Ooh, I want to see it.
And it still looks like as good as the day I bought it.
From when?
I've been with my husband 8 years, and I got that bag before him and I were together. So it's got to be like 9, almost 10 years old. I'll show it to you after this. It literally looks brand new. I wore it to my mom to visit my parents and my sister like a year or so ago. And my sister's like, "Oh, I love your puzzle bag. When did you get that?" And I was like, I've had this.
Been had.
But not even been had in a like a way, but it's like, it just looks like, my sister's like, it looks brand new. And I'm like, that's that quality. That's that Loewe leather.
Yep.
I'll show it to you and you're going to be shocked. But I want to see what the f***'s going to happen at Dior.
Yes.
Because that was very tired, and I want to see how he's going to reinterpret it.
That was so bad. It was so bad.
But there's also not that much, like, how is he going to do that fun stuff? Like,
there's not that much wiggle room also. Like, that's something people need to understand. Like, all that needs to go to approval.
So the bigger the brand, the more approval.
The more approvals there are. Like, it gets to the top, and by the time you get to the top, that's just a T-shirt.
My conspiracy theory of it all too is that Dior was like LVMH's like biggest like producing brand at the moment, like under Louis Vuitton, and then they saw a huge crash over the last year or so, and then they saw how successful Loewe has been, so they're like, let's try to like plug him in here, because Loewe, if you didn't know, is under the same umbrella. They're owned by LVMH as well. As Dior. So I think that the CEO like was like, let's move you over here and see what you can do to like bring up profits for the brand. But I didn't see if it's going to be women's or men's, because they have two separate.
Yeah. I don't know if it was going to oversee both.
Kim Jones is still doing men's? He had his moment too, but that's the thing. People come and go with the trendies. It's not anything bad, but it's like, you know, Kim Jones had his moment, then someone else kind of steps up, and it ebbs and flows. It doesn't mean Kim Jones is bad, but it's just, you know, it's just what's trending at the moment.
You have to be able to evolve with the public.
Yes.
And with your consumer, basically. And if you don't, that's what sucks. It's like your taste level is like questioned once like the public's taste level changes.
Yeah, and that's why it's more important to have your own point of view rather than chase trends, because the minute that you like are too late to a trend or you fall behind or you're not following everything else, that's when, you know, you have issues with sell through. But if you're just following your own path, the trends really don't even matter.
Yeah.
I saw someone had posted, they were in a fitting room at Chanel. All these creative director musical chairs are like coming to mind right now. They had posted like a pair of shorts that they were trying on at Chanel. And I was like, I cannot wait.
The fit was terrible.
It was just, they were like cable knit shorts. They were just giving nothing. And I'm sure they were very expensive. And they're only trying them on because they're Chanel, basically. And they would only buy them because they're Chanel. And I'm just so excited to see like how Chanel's going to look moving forward with Daniel Lee. Like, let's just shake things up.
Yeah. I like Daniel Lee. I think he will shake up.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All is pending. Everything in the world, in the fashion world right now is pending.
I know, a lot of shifts.
You told me you were watching Wags to Riches.
So, Wags to Riches is a new show on Netflix. And I watched it because it came across my TikTok.
I saw a lot of promo for it by some of my friends that I follow.
You know what made me watch the Wags to Riches thing? I went to put on the Diddy documentary on Peacock, and I texted Lina, and I'm like, I'm tired. I'm tired
of this.
I don't need any more of it right now. Like, I sympathize with the victims and everything, but this whole like trying to keep up with like a headline when you're actually not adding anything to the narrative at all, because there has not been any updates, quite frankly. Like, get back to me when the court case starts or like something else. Like, let's round this out around the back end when we have like more information, but we don't need to have like all these updates all the time.
They're stretching the out.
Again, it's like a common theme. They're stretching the out. So because I literally put on the first 2 minutes of it and I'm like, I can't do this. I'm sorry, I just can't. Turn it off, and I was like, let me try Wags to Riches on Netflix.
Did you watch the original?
I did not. So
I didn't either.
That's totally not my type of reality show. Like, I'm a hardcore reality person, but it's Bravo strictly.
Yeah.
I'm a hardcore Housewives person. I love Below Deck.
What do they call them? You're a Bravo.
I'm a Bravo head. No, because a Bravo celebrity is when you're on Bravo.
Oh, you're not a Bravo celebrity.
But I'm like hardcore Bravo. So, Wags to Riches is not my typical kind of thing. I don't even watch Selling Sunset, girl, and people love that shit.
Not me either.
So it takes place in Miami, and it follows like quite a few. It's kind of hard to keep up with everyone. But it's kind of funny being based in Miami and living here for so long.
And knowing, like, having encountered some of the people who are on the show.
Yeah. And we were talking like off mic about it. We actually like probably can't even really get into depth because it's like, what do they call it? Like 5 levels of like.
Oh, separation?
Separation.
Yeah. Like 5
degrees
of separation. It's like less. It's like 1 degree.
Way less. So yeah. What kind of like intrigued me into it, and I can't get too much into it, was that Yes Jules is a friend of featured cast member from Wags to Riches. And I think that this is actually the first time where it's kind of like Yes Jules from her narrative, right? Because I think it's a lot of social media posts or like blog posts, news articles about her, where we've really never gotten like completely unfiltered her like speaking directly into a camera.
I mean, other than her vlogging her life.
But then she could have kind of controlled the narrative. But in this,
right, they're gonna chop her up how they feel. Which
she was not getting a good edit at all. If you were watching the show, she was not getting a good edit, and I was gagged a couple times with like the producers, because there is no one shadier than a reality TV show producer.
She got in an actual fist fight.
So she did get into
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alerts ahead. All the episodes are streaming on Netflix. I got to episode 4 or 5, and then I had to go to sleep, but I will be finishing the season because I liked it. I hate to say I liked it.
Spoiler alert, she got into a
physical altercation. Not a good look.
Honestly, the show itself, interesting.
I
should watch it. I should watch it. Me, a non-reality girl, should watch it.
You, a non-reality person, should watch it. As someone that probably is like
plugged in with all these people,
all the people, and have probably been to multiple of their houses.
Yes.
Yes. This is what I will say. As someone that watched Real Housewives of Miami, the original version, when it first started, it's funny to see how over the last decade or 15 years, how much more widely accepted reality shows and TVs are. Especially in Miami. Miami was before a bit seedier and things were kind of like done more in the shadows. So like they weren't letting cameras into places where real Miami people were actually going. Even back in the day, I would watch Bad Girls Club, and they would be going to these like weird random
little bar and lounge.
Bars on the beach. Same with Jersey Shore. They would be going to like random places where you're like, damn,
nobody goes there. Yeah. Yeah.
Like Club Bed and like that on the beach. But
I used to go to Club Bed.
I know, me too. When I said that, I was like, I used to. Well, anyways, so now, you know, in this new show, and now that reality is like more accepted, you know, they filmed a scene inside of like Prime 112.
Oh.
And I'm like,
but also,
I know Prime
112's been on his way out. It's been on his way out for a while. Even though, like, I do feel like anyone that comes from a different city is like, oh,
we're going to Prime 112.
And it's like, for us, it's like, ooh, I haven't been to Prime 112 in a while.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going down.
I would go to Prime Fish before Prime 112.
Yeah, current day, I guess, but
you wouldn't go there. It's not in the Rolodex of the places you're gonna go. It's
not. There's so many other places that you could go. Like they could have been at Casalona, you know. Like they could have been at even Komodo is like it's passé on its way out too.
But it's still a Grutman establishment. I was surprised. Up until season 5, I have not finished the rest, so I could be eating my words next episode when we check in again. But I didn't see any Grutman establishments, which I thought he would be like down to clown in that way.
I thought so too.
They did film at Moxie's, which is like the new restaurant, which took place where like Uvia was. Do you remember that? That was that was a place on Lincoln Road.
Yes.
So I was surprised at that, but I did hear that in upcoming episodes, Jules gets into another altercation inside of the Alexander Wang and Design District, which I thought was surprising.
Which is way too close to home.
No comment. But I'm surprised they let them film inside of the store.
What? Same.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm sure they're over here filming throughout the whole Design District. Stunning.
I saw them filming when I was in Design District once. I didn't know what it was at the time, but now looking back, I'm like, oh.
That's what that is.
Yeah, but they film in Design District all the time.
For anything and everything, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Wags to Riches on Netflix. I recommend. I'm up to episode 5 right now. Right now, I would say my favorite people, I love Alexis.
Alexis is great. She's a friend of Dear Young Queen.
She is.
Alexis. So
she has great energy, and I'm glad that it comes through on the screen because you can really get that. Portia, I like her when she's not around Sherelle. Sherelle is Chad Ochocinco's now baby mom because they have broken up. And she's out here being judgmental and a mean girl to Rick Ross's baby mama. But, you know, when you break things down, like, who are you to judge anyone? Chad Ochocinco, I didn't know he was like headbutting his ex-girlfriend and stuff. Like, it's not like he's innocent in all this either.
Right.
And you could tell he's a lover of being on camera because he really yucks it up when the cameras are on there and like, you know, move out of the way, girls, because he
Yeah.
He's trying to have his moment.
Yeah, we used to go to the same gym, and he's very
Animated.
yeah. He's very like center of attention.
Yeah. It's like you can tell. That's the thing with new reality TV shows. We've been watching them for 10 years, so it's kind of changed our brain chemistry. You can tell the people who are like, this is me, like I have arrived. This is what I was meant to do. And they turn it on for the camera. And you can tell he's someone that was like meant to be on some sort of reality TV show. Because I'm like, why are you better than all the other girls?
He was made for this and football. For this and football. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see if I tune in. We'll see if I tune in. I also am always interested because like I didn't watch like Rap, which is like a series, but it's based in Miami. I'm always interested to see like how Miami is portrayed. So that would be something that's
something
interesting
I love.
for me.
And it's
too.
funny the people that they pick to be on these shows too, like Love and Hip Hop and like all this stuff. Because if you're in certain circles in Miami, you're like, that person's a scammer.
Who's not?
That's very Miami.
Who's not here?
So yeah, wax to riches.
A digital cover and spread of Pamela Anderson for Elle magazine, which was, I thought it was so well done.
She was interviewed by Martha Stewart, which I love.
Interviewed by Martha Stewart was, I mean, that would just make me want to read it.
Gag of the century.
Yeah.
Which I feel like that happens all the time in celebrity magazine interviews. They're always interviewed by the most random person, random other celebrity, which it's like, how do they even arrange that?
Yeah.
Like, hey, Martha, do you want to come interview
Pamela Anderson
for Elle magazine?
I wonder if they have any like history of like having worked together or anything. Obviously, on camera or I don't know.
It was photographed by Adrienne Raquel and styled by Jean-Michel Kwame. She was going for more of like power suiting, which has been trending a lot with a lot of different fashion brands this past season. But she also was wearing makeup, which Pamela Anderson has been very outspoken about not wearing makeup for red carpets or anything. So it's actually very striking when she has like a full beat on.
Yeah. She honestly, she's bad.
I think she looks fantastic. The styling is really amazing and the photography is like impeccable. There's a couple looks like the Saint Laurent look, and there's one with her like
she's wearing his red gloves.
Yep, the red gloves,
Beautiful.
which is Saint Laurent, and then the full McQueen look, and she has her leg up in the air, and she's on the chaise lounge.
Oh, I love that one.
I love that. So striking. I think it's actually kind of a good tactic to not wear makeup that often in your everyday life, because then when you do wear makeup, it's like all the more striking.
Yeah, I think what's happening is the opposite for me. That like I'm always wearing makeup that when people see me without, they're like, "Are you okay?" And it's like, I'm fine. I just don't have makeup on.
It's so rude. Like if I go somewhere and I'm not wearing mascara, I'll get like one or two men. It's always men, of course, being like, "You look tired." Eat my ass.
Yeah.
Shut
You look tired. Oof! I'm gonna punch somebody in the face and say you look hurt.
Telling a woman, "Oh, you look tired," is so rude.
Yes, I've always felt this way, and I've always tried to say something about it. And one time it happened to me at work, and I came off as like this cunty, terrible person because the guy was like, "Are you okay? You look tired." It was just like a random background talent, and I was like, he was like, "Why don't you smile?" Why don't you smile? Oof, that shit took me out. I was like, I don't have to smile for you. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And I'm like, you're coming to me telling me how I look. I didn't ask you how I look. Like I went, I spat
Berserk.
at him. Yeah. And I'm at work and I'm like, damn, that was so stupid. Why did I do that? But it's
And
like,
then you get
why?
mad at yourself
Like, don't
for
come up to
reacting.
me. I look tired. I am tired. I had a 5 a.m. call time.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Yes. Like it's like when people that point out pimples, it's like, what am I going to do with this information now? It doesn't heal right away.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I actually want to go watch her movie.
Yes, I've heard mixed things. So her movie out right now is
Pamela's movie,
The Last Showgirl, directed by Gia Coppola. I've heard mixed things. I've heard really great things and really not great things.
I want to see it just because I feel like it looks aesthetically pleasing.
Aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
I think stylistically it will be pleasing. The Coppolas really understand how to like...
Yeah. Create a world.
Yes. And I like seeing Pamela working, especially after the last couple of years where she's like had a resurgence.
Yeah.
She did get snubbed by the Oscars. She got a Golden Globe and a SAG award nomination, and she got snubbed by the Oscars. I don't know how I feel about that. The Oscars are kind of like this gratuitous like kissing of celebrities. So Amelia Perez got like the most nominations out of all the movies this award season at the Oscars, and it's like, if that's any indication of like how skewed the award show is,
Yeah.
that's like the perfect example right there. Because that movie was deranged.
I didn't see it.
I only watched clips. But
Which one was it?
It was the one with, it was a musical that Selena Gomez was getting dragged for.
Yeah.
And all I can tell you is I saw that one clip about the song that was like penis, from penis to vagina. And that one like best score, not that song specifically, but the musical. I'm like, are we okay?
Huh?
Are we okay out here?
Yeah.
So whatever. Justice for Pamela.
It seems like we have a today in pop culture history.
We do have a today in pop culture history.
Today in pop culture history.
40 years ago.
40 years ago. December.
Oh, actually, it was 41 years ago.
January 27th, 1984.
84. Mm-hmm. During the height of his fame, pop singer Michael Jackson was doing a big Pepsi commercial, and it should have just been a regular fun shoot, but an accident happened that left him with lasting physical and emotional damage. In 1984, he was filming a Pepsi commercial, which featured a performance of his hit song, Billie Jean, in front of a crowd at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles. Pepsi had developed the idea for the ad where Jackson would emerge from a curtain of sparks, which in theory looked impressive, but something went wrong during the sixth take, and there was a pyrotechnic malfunction that set Michael Jackson's hair on fire.
Oof.
Yes. So, of course...
I didn't know it was his hair that caught on fire.
Yes, it was his hair that caught on fire. I've seen clips of it, and it's something that's like not discussed that much anymore because it was like such a crazy incident, and he was so young when it happened. So, of course, he had a lot of flammable products in his hair at the time because it was the 80s.
Hairspray, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the fire quickly spread on his head, and he was unable to put it out. While the fire was extinguished quickly after, he was left with severe burns, and he experienced second and third degree burns on his scalp, face, and it even left him exposing parts of his skull.
Oh,
yep. So he was treated at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center for his burns and smoke inhalation. And Pepsi later apologized and paid for his medical expenses and offered him $1.5 million, which he donated to the Brotman Medical Center in Culver City.
his initial contract was a $5 million contract with Pepsi, and then they gave him 1.5 in addition.
Yes, which he donated, and then he subsequently founded the Michael Jackson Burn Center for Children. Jackson once said that he thought he was dying, and he even saw visions of angels during the incident, and it left him with horrible emotional trauma, and it was worsened by the fact that it was captured on camera and it was leaked to the media. So due to the incident, he had to undergo several surgeries to repair the damage he had and even get hair transplants. And he often wore makeup to cover the scars and the injuries on his face, and wigs and hats to conceal the hair loss and scars. He suffered from nightmares and developed a fear of fire and pyrotechnics after the accident. And he also became more obsessed with cosmetic surgery and used painkillers and sedatives to cope up until his subsequent death in 2009. And it's interesting because a lot of people attribute that specific moment to
The whole shift in the way that he looked, his appearance.
That moment in time kick-started one of the saddest downfalls in history, health-wise and not popularity. And it kind of sent him down his spiraling path of being obsessed with his image and his usage of painkillers and sedatives.
Yes. Like drug abuse.
Drug abuse, basically. And then I did read this on Reddit, and I thought that it was interesting and eerie. And it said, did you guys know that the Pepsi accident happened on January 27th, 1984, when Michael Jackson was 25 years old, 4 months and 29 days. And then exactly 25 years, 4 months and 29 days later, Michael Jackson would be dead.
That's insane. That's like cryptic.
I know.
Weird.
And for someone that had been famous his entire life, it's interesting that you can actually like kind of pinpoint a shift in his life. That's one pivotal moment that changed his life and changed his
The
path.
trajectory of his career, of even his career, but also his image.
Yes,
you
his
know?
image, his physical image,
Yes.
and how he was perceived to the public. He got into skin bleaching and everything.
Well, because the image that we know of Michael Jackson today is not the image of him as a black man in his like natural state.
Yes.
It's like a very embellished, very altered man.
Yes. And even I vividly remember the first time I saw Michael Jackson. My mom, which is such like a 90s thing, my mom had a little TV in the kitchen, and he was being interviewed on one of those like daytime kind of like talk shows, like a Ricky Lake or something. I don't remember exactly what show. And at that point, he had already had a lot of surgery to his face. And I think around that time he was married to Lisa Marie.
Yeah.
And I
Presley.
remember Lisa Marie Presley, and I remember he came up on the screen and it startled me. And I was really
You
young.
were a kid and you got scared,
remember being startled by his appearance. And then we got a little bit older, and there was an incident where like allegedly his nose fell off on stage.
Right.
And it was collapsing.
Yeah. What you remember is like his hat, his loafers, his glove, like, you know, like his jackets.
I think of his
like,
hair too.
His hair, yeah. It's like someone could put on all those things and look like Michael Jackson
without
without
actually
actually
looking
looking
like
like
him.
Michael Jackson.
I know, because it's so iconic to his aesthetic. I love, if you ever watch Supercuts, where it's like all these clips together where it's like Michael Jackson being like because he was like such a troll.
He was
Yeah, he was like in the best way. So yeah, it's to have such like a prolific career. You can pinpoint when something happened, even though the end of it all was 25 years later, but you can see where the shift was. It's kind of like with Britney Spears or people that were like so publicized, you can see where like the change started happening, and then you can look back and see the timeline. It's kind of spooky.
Yeah, it is a little spooky. All right. Well, that's all we got for you guys today.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in and being understanding of our posting schedule, which is not a schedule, but we are trying, and we love you guys. You can follow us on all platforms. It's Not That Serious, the pod, on Instagram and still on TikTok for now. You can watch this on YouTube. So subscribe to Dear Young Queen.
Dear Young Queen's YouTube channel, and we are under the podcast section, and you will be able to see the full episodes.
You can see us physically.
Live and direct, because we only post shorts and reels on TikTok
Exactly.
and Instagram.
You can follow me at Drea the Angel on all platforms.
And you can follow me at Lina Gosh on all platforms.
You can send us any questions, suggestions, stories, or
Is it a bad day, or is that person just a piece of
to It's Not That Serious
This week
at gmail.com. And remember,
It's not that serious.